Hi, we're the Hitmen, taking the risk out of risky business. At Project Hack 11, we undertook a risk management project. We will first introduce you to the team that addressed that project and the assumptions that we made, followed by the breakdown of the problem and the analysis we conducted in order to achieve our evaluations. Finally, we will provide you with the recommendations we would make to a client in a real situation. First, let me introduce you to the team. James Fleming undertook data analysis and also conducted analysis regarding the data reliability using Python. Chris Davies, who was responsible for presentation and overall project coordination. David Akuma, who was responsible also for front-end design and for the project narrative. And Max Donan, who alongside James Fleming undertook the data analysis and the subsequent preparation of the dashboard. Now let's go through the breakdown of the problem. Our brief was to create a tool that could provide a junior risk manager with approximately 2 years experience with the data to recommend risks to address and risks to accept. What's worth investing in and what is not? And in order to do this, they would need a model that would run the analysis and give these answers in a definitive and easy to understand manner. So the ultimate goal of the tool then was to mitigate this risk based on the risk evaluation and the cost of what would be required to do so. A quick number of assumptions we should add to this narrative is that if the initial likelihood was 0, we would not consider the case, as it made no sense to. Likewise, any anomalies in the data are completely ignored for the purpose of this task. Now let's briefly go through the user journey map. The program manager and the portfolio manager provided key metrics definition, key performance indicators that were used to define whether or not a risk was worth investing in or not. The risk manager provided the data input alongside any necessary cleanup, and the RM review was also used to undertake a quality assessment approach. The output was entered into a Power App, enabling easy interactivity with end users, such as the project manager defined in the initial project brief. The Power App was then imported into Power BI as part of the risk prediction model, forming the data input component of that Power BI dashboard, whereas the Power BI dashboard itself would be displaying the data. Insights would therefore be sent to the management team using the dashboard overall, and using the Power App embedded within Power BI, they would be able to interact with the data itself. So what analysis did we undertake? From a project management perspective, naturally, we want to understand what's worth investing in and what is not. And on a project level, we start to understand what is worth investing using this view of the dashboard. As we can see, the risk data can be filtered by different risk categories, which in a real scenario might be defined as fire, flood, natural disaster, or something more minor like moderately adverse weather. We can see the corresponding impacts on financial benefit as well as the residual schedule impact, reputational impact score, and financial impact. At the portfolio manager level, we naturally want a higher level perspective of what's going on. Once again, we see the breakdowns of financial, reputational, and schedule impact, and we can easily see that risk categories 21, 8, and 22 are the most worthy of investment, respectively. If the portfolio manager wishes, they can select either dates to review or individual projects, and they are also able to navigate to the quantified data at raw data or tabular level. At the project management level, the user is able to view risks, again, at high level, using the most significant, displaying the most significant risks. As we can see, risk category 13 is the most prominent, and they can also see at each phase what is most important. We can now also see that by so-called drilling through, we can observe the data at a more fundamental tabular level. The program manager level provides a perspective in between the high level portfolio level and the low level project management level. Here we can see individual impacts of risks aggregated by the project, so we can see what impact the investment is likely to do in terms of the delta or FC with the small triangle nestled next to it. Here we see a comprehensive comparison of schedule versus financial, i.e. cost versus time. So what have we delivered? We've considered a profile of individual people at various levels from project to portfolio level. And we've created a dashboard for each of these in our deliverables. And these are interactive on the understanding that they might want to look at schedule and cost and or reputation. And we have deployed a model to predict key risk metrics based on input parameters from these team members. The Power App tool permits interactivity and is written into a the data can be written into a SharePoint list. And our recommendations are that mitigating projects in risk category 13 would be very beneficial, as there is an overall high likelihood of occurrence and large schedule impact. Projects also with of ID 169, 163 and 112 are affected by category 13. Here we see the app user interface as developed in Power Apps, and by adjusting the reputational, schedule and cost risk appetite, we can the user can understand what is worth investing in and what is not. So we would like to keep this open-ended, and we consider, first of all, what predictive analytics can we use? Using the model, we can see that we can assess the likelihood of a live and present risk occurring, as well as whether or not this is worth mitigating. And within that model, we have the capability to see how this will quantifiably affect the risk fund, as well as it might align or not align with business priorities in terms of those three key parameters: reputation, schedule, and cost. And we would like to automate this process if possible. Risk management cannot be automated with current resources. However, the processes are involved could potentially include automation of emails and other notifications to warn project and program managers that certain risks might be prominent in the future. Ultimately, the decision will need to be made by someone, but the process of getting there could certainly be facilitated. Our solution enables an organization to determine how they want to approach risk from the key metrics and works out how much this would cost and be quantified. In terms of security, we would like to ensure that whereas our data is currently stored within SharePoint, we could scale this to sit on Azure to obtain security benefits of cloud-based solutions.